Let's get more on this now with Liang, who's a professor of economics at Willamette University. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Welcome back to the programme. So China's imports and exports weakened over the January to February period. What's your reading of these numbers?
Yeah, good to talk to you, Paul. So according to the China's customs, there are some seasonal factors. So for example, this February and January, this year's Spring Festival, it was extended by 2 days. So that means these 2 months lost 2 working days. And so according to them, if we account for all these other factors, you're actually not seeing a decline in the total trade. In counting in the yuan value, the trade actually has gone up by, I think, 1.7% year on year. But I think the other major factor has to do with, as you just reported, that there has been a front loading of goods from China by the importers of other countries in anticipation of the tariffs. So that's why you saw that last December, exports had gone up by 10.7%, quite a remarkable surge. And so I think that kind of effect has faded out a little bit in the first 2 months of this year. So Donald Trump's tariff kicked in on February the 4th, and then the second tier of the 10% just started March the 4th. So I think we'll see more of that tariff effect probably in March and April and going forward.
And what else can the government do to respond to this? What policy measures can be put in place to limit the damage from tariffs?
Well, that's a great question. So I think, first of all, it needs to be noted that the U.S. market is becoming a smaller and smaller destination for China's exports. As a matter of fact, the ASEAN countries, European countries are the top 2 export destinations for China. So the direct exposure of China's exports to the U.S. is only 14.6% last year. Now, that said, I think without a free trade between the U.S. and China with this higher tariff barriers, it is going to hurt China's exports. That's why I think at the 2 sessions that is closing in Beijing, you see the slew of government policies to bolster domestic consumption demand and investment returns through proactive fiscal policies and monetary policies to support domestic consumption and to strengthen, business interest and confidence. So I think all of these factors are basically saying that China needs to look more towards domestic market to compensate for maybe some of the loss in the trade front. But again, I think there are many ways that China is able to export to these other countries, ASEAN countries, like Vietnam or Mexico. And so I don't think that at the trade front, China is going to take a very large hit as some of the sort of the analysts would like, would make it to be.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your insights on this, Professor Liang from Willamette University.